Okay, let's proceed to the first topic, which is software changes from the external pressure. Software changes is inevitable when the error must be repaired and fixed for it to work properly. New requirement will also merge when the software is used. The software also need to change when there's new computer and equipment are added to the system so that the computer and the equipment can work properly with the software. Next one is software maintenance. As times go on, the software will be in a few stages, which are software development, software evolution, software servicing, and software retirement. Now, I will explain what is software maintenance. It is when modifying a program after it has been put into use and changes are implemented by modifying existing components and adding new components to the system. Also, Somerville claims that maintenance implies management of the software system by a separate organization. Okay, next is type of maintenance. Software maintenance need to be performed in order to repair software faults by changing a system to correct deficiencies in the way it meets its requirement. Next, maintenance is also needed to adapt software to a different operating environment where this can be achieved by changing the system so that it operates in a different environment from the initial implementation. Also, maintenance must to be performed to add or modify the system functionality by modifying the system to satisfy new requirements, whereby there are three types of maintenance suggested by Lienz and Swanson, which are corrective, adaptive, and perfective maintenance. Corrective maintenance of a software may be essential to correct software defects or to enhance the performance of the system.
Another two types of maintenances are adaptive maintenance and perfective maintenance. Adaptive maintenance include modifications and updations to adapt the software to a changing environment. And perfective maintenance is where a software product needs maintenance to add or to modify the system's functionality according to the customer's demands. Next is software defects. The IEEE standard 610.12 defines the following terms related to defects, which are failure, fault, and error. Failure is the inability of a system or component to perform its required functions within specified performance requirements. For example, in a bank application, if the amount transfer module is not working for the end users when the end users try to transfer the money, such as the submit button is not working. Hence, this is a failure. Faults may occur in software because it has not added the code for fault tolerance, making an application act out. A fault may happen in a program because of an incorrect step, process, or inappropriate data definition. Error is a human action that produces an incorrect result. For example, when a developer made a coding error as the developer misunderstood the requirement or the requirement was not defined correctly, then the developer will use the term error.
So let's go to the next part, refactoring. Refactoring, known as preventative maintenance that reduces the problem of future change. Refactoring is the process of making improvement to a program to slow down degradation through change. Refactoring also involves in modifying a program to improve their structure, reduce their complexity, and make it easier to understand. When we refactor a program, we should not add functionality or features, but we rather concentrate on program improvement. For the next part, we have refactoring and re-engineering. For the re-engineering part, a system needs to be maintained for some time and maintenance costs are expensive. But the pros is we use automated tools to process or re-engineering a legacy system to create a new system that much more maintainable. For the refactoring part, refactoring is a continuous process of improvement throughout the development and evolution process. It is intended to avoid the structure and code degradation that increase the cost and difficulty of maintaining a system. For the next one is maintenance cost factor. There are 4 factors that include maintenance cost, which is team stability. Maintenance costs are reduced if the staff that develop software are involved within maintenance. For the second one is staff skill. Maintenance staff are often inexperienced and have limited domain knowledge. For the third one, program age and structure. As programs age, their structure is degraded and they become harder to understand and change. For the last one is contractual responsibility. The developer of a system may have no contractual responsibility for maintenance, so there is no incentive to design for future change.
The main difference between maintenance and development is that during the development process, you are likely building a completely new system. During maintenance, you are changing the existing system. There have been several studies of software maintenance which have looked at the relationship between maintenance and development. Surveys broadly agree that software maintenance takes up a higher proportion of IT budgets than new development, which is roughly 2/3 maintenance and 1/3 development. For embedded real-time systems, maintenance costs were up to 4 times more than development cost. It is usually cost-effective to invest effort in designing and implementing a system to reduce the cost of future changes. Adding new functionality after delivery is expensive because you have to spend time learning the system and analyzing the impact of the proposed changes. Therefore, work done during development to make the software easier to understand and change is likely to reduce evolution costs. So, to recap it is actually sometimes easier to sew a new dress rather than to repair an old one. In an organizational structure based on teams, the structure breaks down department barriers and decentralizes decision-making to the level of the team. Team structures usually require employees to be generalists as well as specialists. Based on this structure, it has 3 stages where the flow goes to the customer process first. Then it goes through front-end support, which has 2 support lines that are help desk and product support. Then finally it goes through support line 3, where it consists of the development, evolution and maintenance part. Next, for the change request process are the requests for system changes from users, customers or management. Ideally, the change implementation stage of this process should modify the system specification, design and implementation to reflect the changes to the system. And sometimes it can relate to system problems that have to be tackled urgently. During the evolution process, the requirements are analyzed in detail and implications of the changes emerge that were not apparent in the earlier change analysis process. This means that the proposed changes may be modified and further customer discussions may be required before they are implemented.
Now, let's move on to the next slide for emergency change. Emergency change consists of 4 stages that developers have to focus on. When there are change requests, developers will analyze and modify the source code. Then, they will deliver the modified system. However, urgent changes may have to be implemented without going through all these stages. First, if a serious system fault has to be repaired, if changes to the system's environment, as example given, and operating system upgrade have unexpected effects. If there are business changes that require a very rapid response, as example, the release of a competing product. And lastly, if there are any new laws that must be immediately followed. For problems in managing maintenance, it is divided into 2 parts. Problem tends to happen when there is changing priorities, a chaotic nature of maintenance requests, the length of maintenance tasks causing new requests to come along before an ongoing task is done. Second, inadequate testing methods, when there is lack of time set aside for testing of comprehensive test data or rigorous testing requirements as a standard for signing off. Next, performance measurement difficulties, it is how do you measure individual or group performance. Another two problems in managing maintenance is when system documentation is incomplete or non-existent. A training takes a long time for learning an application, so programmers get stuck on one piece of software. Last but not least, and adapting to the rapidly changing business environment is when hardware and software also become obsolete. I guess that is all for our group presentation. Thank you and Assalamualaikum.